Happy Friday to everybody watching. Всех с пятницей. Сегодня пятница развратница. It's Friday. Let's see. Another work van in the shop. Today we're putting in a security modeling panel on the back door, and we're trying to see if we can do a dual battery setup with the factory batteries. So not in GM, but just add a second battery into the bank, just to be on the safe side per customer's request. So this is electrical contractor van, so basically a construction van that has tools and all in the back. Not a camper van, but hey, any work is good, right? So рабочий вен или рабочий бусик. Цель поставить мали-панельки на задние двери для безопасности, чтобы было более-менее недоступно для воров, так сказать, залезть. Вот. А вторая часть, это хозяин попросил добавить второй аккумулятор внутрь. То есть сейчас стоит один аккумулятор, будем ставить второй. Ну что, let's go see what's under the seat. First thing first is to pull the driver's seat off, because that's where the battery is supposed to be, and we'll go from there. Снимаем сидушку и там смотрим. Anyways, welcome to Bud Nixon channel. Well, today is one of the days when we do a shop video of what's going on in the shop. Сегодняшнее видео будет о том, что мы кулебиним, как я сказал на предыдущем видео. Добро пожаловать на канал. So first thing first, we need a T40 to pull these bolts that hold the seat base. T40 нужно, чтобы снять 4 болта. There's 4 bolts. There's 2 in the front and 2 in the back once we slide the seat. And once the 4 bolts removed, next thing you want to do is loosen up a couple of these tabs that hold the wiring to the seat, so this way you can lean the seat back. Now before you lean the seat back, you want to slide it into like a neutral position, so the slides are halfway, or you know, centered out instead of sticking out one way forward or one way back or whatever. The seat belt will stretch enough, and the seat just lays perfectly on the passenger seat. So next step is to pull this guy off, and then remove this top metal brace and remove the plastic top off the battery compartment. All right, so actually this thing doesn't need to be coming off. So you take a 8mm socket на 8 and remove these 2 bolts here. Now don't lose your hardware. Keep it all organized. Boom. So this piece comes off. You can just remove it actually. You want to снять просто. And now we're getting access to the battery compartment. So we're getting, this is the ground stud. This is a 20, I have to look up somewhere, a tag should be, but I don't see it. This is a 2016, so 2016, 2017 Ford Transit Gas Edition. Keep that in mind if you need that. Use a little tool here. All right. Oh yeah, so we got a single battery in here. So this is a single battery tray. So now we need to figure out how to join the 2 batteries, as we are installing 2 of them in here. So, okay, so getting things figured out. When fitting 2 batteries in here, these 2 ribs on the sides, which are meant for supporting this cross brace when you only put 1 battery in. So these 4 pieces, they get in the way of getting the 2 batteries fitted. And these are Ford's original Group 48 batteries as well. So these have to be cut off, and I just, you know, you use whatever tool, something sharp that you can just slide them off. I mean, it's fairly soft plastic, but I mean it's still brittle and still rigid in a certain sense, right? So use caution. I just use some pliers to kind of break them off, and then just with the knife slowly shear them off. So ножичком это убрали, плоскогубчиками оторвали чуть-чуть, положили. So next thing that came to my attention was this section that they put up to have the battery sit in one place, right? So this is about a 1/4 inch, где-то миллиметров 5, наверное, такой подъем, offset. So what I end up doing is cut a 1/4 inch of plywood that we put in here, and then the two batteries will sit perfectly now and leveled. Boom. So just like that, two batteries in, nothing is really, you know, moving around too much. I don't think I'm gonna use this part, but if you wanted to, I think what you can do is you can actually cut these into strips and shove them this way to get the batteries to sit in tight from both sides, just to make it right. I have some other material I'm gonna look into first before I do anything with this guy. So a thought skipped my mind, мысль такая проскользнула, that by factory this material that they used to put in here probably might have something to do with the off gases from the battery, lead, acid, whatever, you know, venting, whatever. So maybe this will hold up better, so let's just reuse that. Суть такая, что эти аккумуляторы имеют вот такие вот вытяжки, so these are the vents, and you gotta utilize this tubing to let the batteries breathe the right way. So you gotta plumb that into here. We'll get to that part a little bit shorter. Мы это еще сделаем, но этот аккумулятор должен дышать. И в итоге вот эта деталь, если ее какой-то другого материала использовать, наверняка, может быть, она просто-напросто будет, ну скажем, сгнивать, не знаю, или как это сказать, растворяться от кислотных газов. Поэтому мы используем тот же самый материал. So I'm gonna just reuse this. And I found about 1 inch plus strip right there. Fits in right. I mean, all we need is just to block it off so the batteries don't slide side to side. And then if you put this guy in here, that's a little too small, so we need to measure it out to see, you know, how much more do we want to go. So looks like if I go about that thickness long ways, this might just do the trick. So сейчас вырежем на пиле еще вот такой кусочек. Gonna get a little noisy. Were you scared like I was? Вы испугались? Чуть пальцы не потеряли. Almost lost the fingers, right? Yeah, call me crazy, whatever. Everybody use their own common sense for safety. So what was happening is the blade was kicking back because it was I wasn't moving fast enough. Недостаточно быстро продвигал этот пластик, и он начинает плавиться, so it starts to melt a little bit. That's why the blade is kicking back. But do this at your own discretion, obviously, right? Find a safer way of cutting up plastic. Use whatever tool you feel comfortable with doing things like that. Все очень просто. All we are trying to do is be entertaining. So now feel free to call me crazy and stupid. Смешно это всем нам. It is funny, you know what, because everybody tries to be a nice smarty pants about everything that another person does. But that's okay. Нормалек. Все хотят чуть-чуть быть критиком. Okay. Let's see. Did we accomplish what we want to accomplish? Oh, perfect. So one can go down while another can be on the side. All right. So these batteries ain't going nowhere. Вот так вот получилось. Ну, машина не для оффроуда, как бы ездить все равно по дорогам более-менее. So, здесь трястись особо ничего не будет. But anyways, this thing is wide enough where if it even slides, it'll still cover the 2 batteries. This one is wide enough to cover both, so it ain't going nowhere. Let's see, what else can we go on to the next here? So let's do the breather, right? Let's try to figure out how we can make this work the right way. So a simple solution, I found some 1/4-inch tubing which fits nice and snug inside of the battery side. Где-то 5-миллиметровая трубка, она мягкая. Hold on, I'm gonna try to put it in. Yep. So you can see I'm whipping it up a little bit and it ain't coming out, so I think it will hold through all the issues, and it looks like it goes in about 3/16, maybe about 1/4 of an inch in, so it's enough to hold it in place. And on the bottom of the tray, the factory opening for this tubing is here, and the other one you have to drill out yourself. I found a 1/4-inch bit works just fine. You can put it through the back because there's the back one there, and then you have an extra opening for yourself. So instead of doing some flimsy stuff, what we can do is utilize the factory provided tubing for one side. We have to trim it shorter, and the other one we're just gonna use this 1/4-inch tube that I had in the shop for the breather on the other battery, and that will work. So let's get this assembled. Let's see if this angle will work. Okay, so first thing first, let's put this guy in. Be sure no wires getting tangled up. And we put the spacer in. Let's start with battery number 1. Whoop, that's the camera jerk. We're still good on angle. I think we're pretty good. Где-то вот так вот, да? Like this, right? And then we're gonna go, before anything, we need to put the tubing in. I should have done that probably from the beginning. Boom. So tubing is in place. Next we need to go with this tubing. Okay. There we go. This battery. This guy goes in first. Okay. Включаю там, потом тут. Вот идеально. And actually, I'm just gonna make this simple. Boom. Gotta flip it the right side. Okay, so snips. What might not hurt is to put a little bit of glue maybe on the tip of this tube if you're concerned about it. Honestly, I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think I'm getting ready to sneeze here. Brother. And you can run this to whatever battery of your choice. Just make sure when you pull this pin out, you put it from the other side. You plug the other side, because otherwise the whole concept becomes, what's the right word? Pointless. Oh, that's good and snug in there. And I'm thinking maybe a little bit too long. Let's see if it's short a little bit. that's perfect. Отлично. Okay, should get this in here. So that keeps the battery in place. Double it up. All right, now this guy has to be used on this end, and I don't know if it's, I'm just gonna snip it as well. This is becoming a custom application. And if you're really efficient, you might be, oh, I don't think actually. I was gonna say you might be giving away, but no. I'm guessing the Ford sells this kit. Ford наверняка продает комплект для вот этих вещей. I mean, if you really think about it, is it necessary? Is it not necessary? I don't know. My best guess is I'm not an engineer, you know, from Ford. If manufacturer put it in, then I'm going to say that it is probably a good idea to have it in. So our ground stud, just perfectly long enough for ground. Positive is good enough here, so we're going to connect positive, negative, 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 positive, positive. You got to make sure you correctly install it, which is, you know, different between series or parallel. Now you want to always maintain the 12-volt setup, so stay tuned and you'll find out how we do it. So seems like we should be able to get factory setup done the right way. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make this part work. I might be able to just cut this and make this a joint right here, or still just utilize it this way, so both the positive and negative go to the same battery, which probably is a better idea, and then just chain link to here to here. So this will make it parallel. Now if you go positive to negative, and then from the same battery you go from positive to the negative and then ground to the car, you're going to have series, which will give you 24 volts, which will not be okay, let's just say that. So разговор идет о том, что параллельно или поочередно подключение аккумуляторов и вам даст или 12 вольт, или вам даст 24. В нашей системе это 12-вольтовая система с завода, поэтому нужно оставлять все в 12-вольтовой системе моде. То есть плюс вместе, минусы вместе. И лучшая идея наверняка это оставлять минусы и плюсы, которые идут от генератора, от машины на одном аккумуляторе, и второй аккумулятор просто вместе с ними. Также имейте в виду, что в таком положении аккумуляторы должны быть идентичные. То есть они должны были быть установлены и поставлены в пользование в одно и то же время. И в этой ситуации так это было с первоначально с завода. So keep in mind that the batteries have to be identical in order to not leach each other off, if that makes sense, and charging to be proper. So they have to be same capacity, same kind, same brand, same everything, really, to make sure that everything works out as it should. In our case, these are both original Ford Fomalco, Ford Motor Company Group 38 AGMs that were used on another van that we removed and placed Odysseys instead. So the owner wanted to put these in here just to give him a little more backup just in case. Let's get this wiring figured out and go from there. So once work starts, this is one of the reasons it is tough to record and work all together. Почему сложно и работать, и записывать? Потому что иногда просто уходишь в работу и забываешь о другой работе. So we forget about recording for you guys. So let's do this. So what did we come to? I jumped the gun a little bit. So I found a positive terminal here. We're using the factory negative terminal. This is a negative terminal that I usually install in shops. This is a factory one. I can't remember if GM or Ford makes it, but you can find this part number. Here we go. And I could put a link below for Amazon as well. So this is a battery terminal, but it's good enough for the negative side, which is smaller as far as the stud itself. And the positive stud is bigger usually, so you want to find one that's, you know, that has a positive mark to it, because usually it'll compensate for that. So with that covered up, what we're doing is we're running positive here and we're running negative here, and then chain linking them over here and over there. The factory positive, if you open up the box, it was A long, right? So I'm gonna say it's about probably 2 feet, and it feeds into this CCP box, or the power box, where everything feeds off of. That's the terminal that factory made, crimped and heat shrink, right? But it was long enough for the other battery, or long enough for this side, but it's becoming too long and too difficult to work with. So what we're doing is we're putting it here. Come on. Anyways, I'm crimping it up over there and running it just shortly over here, and then still utilizing the ground. I trimmed out the box here, подрезаем тут, и ground stud will get connected this way without having to shorten anything. I think that should pretty much do the job. So let's get the crimping part done. One more thing to consider. Do you just crimp this with a tool like this, for example, or do you solder it and make the connection even more bulletproof? Matter of personal choice. Sometimes you'll find me just crimping, sometimes you find me crimping and soldering, and I think that's what I might just do, and this is how I do it. So I will make sure that everything is pre-prepped in that certain sense, right? Then you put some of this stuff inside the lug, because there's still space in there. Туда внутрь немножко олова делаем, потом немножко кислоты. So after you crimp it, then you heat it up. So let's get that started. It won't hurt to have a little more connection. So something like this. And this being a copper lug, медный, этот часть сама, она, я думаю, будет в самый раз. So now we have to figure out if we can comfortably put that guy in there as it should, right? So у нас получается, I'm gonna go see. So if you lay it in, how the cable lays, you don't want to twist the cable too much. So in our case, the battery terminal gonna be flat and the lug is sideways a little bit. So if you put it this way, you'll have to twist the cable. So you plan ahead to make it easy for yourself. So let's go this route. Right. No, it sure feels like, yep. So that has soldered up the end part for it, for sure, right? With that taken care of, now this is a golden connection. And we can even try it and go a little bit further in from 2, maybe even to 4. That's a 2 gauge lug. Let's pinch it a little more to give us even a better connection. Just a halfway. You don't gotta go too much, right? And then drop the heat shrink. Yeah. Everything is warm and it's not. Come on. There we go. So this is as good as it gets. And here's your lug. And this will last quite some time. So for those who want to know what lug it is, it's a 2 gauge 5/16 opening. So 2 на 5/16. And let's see how that fits in here. Boom, camera. Ah, still warm. Oh no. Okay. So first thing first, поставим обратно. Let's put this guy back. It's a 13 millimeter на 13 тут ключик. Опа, for some reason we're going the wrong way. We're supposed to be tightening. All right. Put everything back as it was. Here. Okay. Right, and then now we got ourselves a good positive. Вот такой плюс получается. So it's nice and short. Just they say extra wire length creates extra resistance, right? So why go the wrong route? This is going to be better, more clean, I think. You don't have excess of whatever. So with that in place, we need to remember that this positive sensor here goes here somewhere. So we need to make sure that that gets in place. And then we're going to run another lead over here. And then once the ground is connected, the lead's gonna go over here. So with that, I think I'm gonna pause, сделаем паузу, and let's make the wires. All right, дядька Никсон доделал тут все уже. Anyways, so a couple more leads that I made terminate. So 1/4 inch. This is a 4. So we got ground that connects, and we got positive that connects. So it's a matter of assembling, so let's get it done. It is recommended that you always connect the positive terminals before you do negative terminals. And actually I'm going to try something different here, which I don't think makes a huge difference on anything. But you never know. One thing to keep in mind, I don't know if video will show, but I think you can see is they're oval. Это овальные, they're crushed nuts, right? So they're, you know, as you tighten them, they stay on and they do what they should. So you don't have a loose connection. So we got that taken care of. Next is the 10mm side for the ground. I'll probably flip this guy too, just this way. It's done right. and ground. Now see, you have to twist it a little bit to put it in the right. Oh, things are working. It's always a good sign, right? All right, so we got double the juice. The only thing I forgot is to connect these wires. I'm not sure what this is accessory. This is something that was aftermarket added. So let's see what we can do to make it right. Okay, well, got everything put together. So again, negative to negative, off, and positive to positive, and off. So this is all in parallel. And it should work as it should. So now it's a matter of putting it back together, and what's going to happen is we're going to put the cover on, the small cover, and then the metal bracket, and then the seat back. So assemble it back together. Hopefully this was a good review, kind of a, I don't know, install video of how to add 2 batteries to a vehicle, or to a Ford Transit in this case. Ну, друзья, надеюсь, видео будет в помощь кому-то. Если у кого-то есть вопросы, пишите. If you have any questions, just comment below and we'll go from there. And now it's time to start for another video, which will probably just come shortly after this one, or maybe in the same day. То же самое видео, где мы установили мали панельки, so we need to install the MOLLE panels for the back doors. But that will be a separate video for that. So thanks for tuning in. Спасибо за внимание. 2 batteries. I don't know, do we care to install? Check. Let's get this thing started and see if it works. Oh, what do you know? It's working. Do we care to check? Just a quick check. All right, ground wire. 14.3. 14.3. So we got charging happening. Again, remember that these batteries have to be the same. Должны быть одинаковые аккумуляторы одного вида, модели, объема, как хотите это называйте, чтобы все это работало правильно. In order for this to work right, it has to be all the same. Again, thanks for tuning in. Спасибо за ваше внимание, друзья. Салют.